meeting will come to order. To ensure that we have a quorum present, I'm going to go for a roll call. Board Member Shelly? Here. Board Member Fallocca? Here. Board Member Grajeda? Here. Board Member Wilson? Here. Board Member Sommer? Here. Board Member Bolognini? Here. Board Member Collett? Here. Chair Aborne? Present.
Well, that was cute.
We don't have our name tags present this evening, so I wanted to make sure everybody knew who we were. I would like to welcome the members of the Glendale Library Advisory Board to our special meeting this evening. I would also like to welcome the many guests who are here tonight to witness our vote as to whether or not to recommend this concept to the mayor and council for formal consideration. Before we begin, I would like to remind the members of the Library Advisory Board and members of the audience that this is a formal special commission meeting of the City of Glendale. As such, we have a defined agenda and allotted time to discuss the main topic at hand tonight. As chair, my primary role is to ensure that the meeting is conducted in an orderly fashion and that the board is allowed to conduct its official business in a civil manner. You may recall that on February 11, 2015, we convened a meeting at the Foothills Library to receive a presentation of this concept, to ask questions of staff, and to allow attendees to share their comments and observations on the proposed concept. This occurred at the direction of the City Council at a February 3, 2015 public workshop on the very same item. We have had 2 full weeks to review and consider this item. Staff has presented us with written responses to not only our questions, but also of those residents who also attended our February 11th meeting, along with the same for the Parks and Recreation and the Arts Commissions. These have been posted on the special website established by the city for this item. They are as part of the agendas for this week's special board and commission meetings. So if you were looking at the FAQs on the website and didn't see a whole list of questions that you may have asked, check the agendas for tonight, and you should have picked up a copy of those questions and answers also outside the door. The purpose of this special meeting tonight is for the members of the Library Advisory Board to take an actual vote as to whether they support the concept or not. In doing so, and at my discretion as chair, once the item is introduced by staff, I will ask the members of the board if they have any follow-up questions of staff. If so, please ask them, and they will respond. Once the board completes its questions, I will call for a motion. If the motion is seconded, I will then ask the board if they would like to discuss the motion at hand. Once this discussion is completed, I will call for the question and ask for a vote. Once we complete the vote, which will be a roll call vote, the item is completed and the motion forwarded to council for formal consideration. In doing so, we will then move on to the next item on our agenda, board comments and suggestions, and then call for adjournment. I ask that the audience please remain to hear this item, as there may be comments that will be of interest to some of you. A special note to our guests. We want to thank you again for your attendance this evening. Unlike the previous meeting of the Library Advisory Board, we do not intend to open this up for additional comment at this time. Rather, as indicated, it will be our opportunity to formally vote on the item. Even so, we do have comment cards available should you wish to leave a comment, and also have a special website and hotline number established. It is all located at www.glendaleaz.com. However, I will allow nonverbal thumbs up or thumbs down, approval or disapproval of our discourse. Please be civil and respectful of the proceedings this evening at all times. I would also like to remind the board that we are advisory in nature and only the City Council can make a final decision on our recommendation. Thank you. I I would now like to begin the formal meeting. We have had our call to order, we have had our roll call, we will move to business from the floor. Summary of this item is, if citizens wish to speak on a matter concerning the Library Advisory Board that is not on the printed agenda, please complete a citizen comment card located at the entrance of the room and provide it to the designated staff person prior to the beginning of the meeting. Once your name is called by the board chairperson, please proceed to the podium or step forward. State your name and address for the record and limit your comments to a period of 5 minutes or less. Did anybody submit a card asking to comment on an item not on our agenda? Did you submit a card, sir? And this is not relating to the library sale?
No, it's related to the sale.
Then we cannot listen to that at this time. This is going to be discussion among the board members, but we will pass along your comments that are in writing onto the city council. Okay, we move on to item 4 then, possible relocation of the Foothills Branch Library and expansion of library services. Mr. Strunk, Mr. Beck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank the members of the board for being here this evening, and also the members of the audience for being here as well. There's not really a whole lot much more to say other than what you already have. As you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we initially convened and we presented a concept to you which involved the potential sale of this library and the relocation of its services and programs to the Foothills Recreation Aquatic Center. We presented that in concept, we answered questions, we wrote down observations and questions from the audience, and we took those, plus the comments from the other 2 commission meetings, combined those, answered those as best we could, and provided those to you as we indicated we would at the time for your consideration and review. And as you mentioned, they're also at the table outside if anyone in the audience wishes to see the responses, and they're also on the website. There is no formal presentation this evening. We provided that to you and to the audience 2 weeks ago and also to the council. At this point, don't really have any additional comments. Certainly if you have questions, we'll do our best to answer them. Otherwise, the floor is yours to discuss, deliberate, and to please take a vote whether or not you would like to forward a recommendation onto mayor and council regarding the sale of this library. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Are there any members of the board who would like to ask additional questions to the staff? And no. Board Member Fallocca? Wait. Push up on the button. Push on.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. I did look at the information online, and one thing I did not see is the company who did the appraisal of the artwork. I'm curious what company did the appraisal of the artwork and when that was done.
Board member, the appraisal was completed in August of 2014, and the name of the company was Denny Park Fine Arts.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I was just wondering how, I know the library is going to be on one side of the whole complex. How far is that away from any of the recreational centers? Because I know as a teen I like to go to the library to do homework, but I want to know how close it is to that, because I know that can be a distraction sometimes.
Madam Chair, the answer to that question is the potential location, if this were to move forward, would be at the Foothills Recreation and Aquatic Center, and it's about 1/3 of a mile as the crow flies. It's a little longer if you have to bike your
But like, is there going to be like a wall separating from?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, the concepts that we showed you the evening of the presentation are the concepts that we're thinking of. So the doors, when you close the doors, the noise from the hallway really doesn't go into that room. Likewise, in the children's area and the youth area that was earmarked, the doors would be closed as well, so there would be a buffer. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
I just want to follow up. Is there any way we could put the appraisal from the artwork online, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
And a point of clarification. The appraisal was actually done in July, and it was done by Kate Elliott. She's an appraiser of modern art and contemporary craft. What I quoted you erroneously was Betty Park Fine Arts. There was a question that came up as to whether or not we could move the Chihuly. They're the individuals that specialize in that, so I confused the two.
Oh, well, I'm not talking about the appraisal to move the things. I'm talking about whomever appraised the art value.
Correct, yes, that was Kate Elliott.
Okay, and if we could put that online.
I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
I have an additional question. It's a follow-up to a question I asked last time. I did ask about the teens and the children and how they would be separated in the activity room. So I did see that that was a question that was answered. The answer says there are two separate sections proposed in the concept, one for adults and one for young adults. So I understand that the activity room, when you walk into the Foothills Rec Center, is on the right-hand side, and that is the proposed location for teens and children. So is there any separation within that room of those two age groups?
Madam Chair, Vice Chair Wilson. Presently, there is still some debate whether or not to have the teens included with the youth or in the adult based on either collection size and also appropriateness. So there is currently no wall that would distinguish the youth and the teen or the teen and adult.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Yes.
I have no questions. Oh, I do have one question. Regarding the space, where in the design, I didn't see any space for the back room type of, organizing the materials for the library, like we have here. Yeah. So do we have any there will be no back room for the librarians to work?
Chair Aborne and Member Bolognini. There are backroom areas. We don't have a formal presentation tonight, but in the conceptual drawings, behind the public service desk was the designated staffing areas where we would do back of the house. Correct.
Is there no more questions from the board? There are no more questions from the board. We will proceed to the next step. I am open for a motion. Do I hear a motion from any members?
I move that staff present to, I move that staff present to the mayor and city council the Library Advisory Board's recommendation that Midwestern University's offer to purchase the Foothills Library building be rejected. And that library services not be relocated to the Foothills Recreation and Aquatics.
Is there a second? I heard board member Sommer first. So the motion has been made by board member Bolognini and seconded by board member Sommer that staff present to the City Council the Library Advisory Board's recommendation that Midwestern University's offer to purchase the Foothills Library building be rejected and that library services not be relocated to the Foothills Recreation and Aquatic Center. It is now time to have discussion of the motion before we proceed. Am I correct, Mr. Strunk? That's the next step?
Correct.
The discussion.
Yes.
I'm just going to start at one end of the table and work our way to the other end of it. So let's start with Member Shelly.
My name is Susan Shelly, and I represent the Barrel District. I'm not in favor of the relocation of the Foothills Library as proposed. I do not feel it is in the best interests of the citizens currently served, who should be the city's primary concern in this situation. The location of a public library anchors a neighborhood and a community. It affects safety and security of that area. It affects property values. It affects the character and culture of that area. It can be a determining factor for the purchase of a home, the largest investment most ordinary people often make. Changing the location of a library changes those dynamics. When this advisory board heard the public comments earlier this month, I perceived some themes that continued from person to person and comment to comment. I concur with these themes, which I perceived as, 1, there's a history of questionable financial and disruptive personnel decisions on the part of city government, leading to lack of trust regardless of who sits in the front of the room in city council meetings. In this proposal, citizens feel they have been called upon one too many times to give up something because of these decisions. There's a history of the southwest part of the city not having adequate library services. With this proposal, it is seen as reducing librarian services to another significant section of the city. 3, the amount of cash offered by Midwestern is inadequate to compensate for what the community loses. 4, there is real, and I believe valid, concern about this move lowering property values. 5, the library as a place with librarians and with print materials is low. People are proud of the Foothills Library. Finally, no citizen came forward to speak in favor of this proposal. Therefore, I cannot be in favor of this proposed relocation. Thank you.
My name is Fallocca, and I represent the Choya District. I hope the city of Glendale now understands that it's time to get their priorities straight and focus on making Glendale, Arizona, a community people choose to move their families to live in, because it offers the exceptional quality of life that they deserve and that they desire for themselves and their families. A community with great libraries, parks, and recreation facilities that families will utilize every day, and these will be the Glendale taxpayers. A city where residents' needs come first. A city where we could be proud to call home. I can't ever recall a time that I've heard someone say that they were going to uproot their family, move their whole family to a city, and sacrifice their quality of life so that they can live close to any type of professional sports arena. Thank you.
I'm Grajeda, and I'm the teen representative for the Yes. As a student dedicated to my studies and having a very high prestigious level on education, I do feel that it's crucial to keep such an institution like the library around for our youth, because they are our future. That is where their minds are created, and that's where they will continue to grow and use their resources to better their education. So, yes.
I don't have a prepared statement quite as eloquent as that at this point, but I've had a lot of thought and a lot of time in this and talking with constituents and friends at my school, and I honestly have to say I didn't feel like a lot of my questions and concerns were adequately answered. I still go back to many issues that this is not making a true library a center that is welcoming, and I don't want a warehouse. If we wanted a digital resource center, that's a totally different issue to me. But I totally concur with this, that this needs to be kept for a place that's warm, that's inviting to people, that the families do build around, and I thumbs up that.
Hi, my name is Bernadette Bolognini, and I represent the Grajeda district. And one thing I found quite disturbing about the roadshow, the presentation, is that they never really came out to describe what we were losing. They gave us the square foot and, the names of the art pieces. So I know this might take just a little bit of time, but I want you, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I think it's important to know exactly what we're losing. And this is a description of the Foothills Branch Library is with a design that appears to reach beyond the site and out to the community. The Foothills Branch Library in Glendale, Arizona is striking as it is functional. It features a magnificent curved copper roof which extends over the entrance to the library on the east and the book drop-off pickup window on the west. But the marriage of functionality and design style doesn't end there. The curved floor plan is a response by DWL designers to the constraints of the site. Rather than have the facility appear cramped between its access road and the neighboring park, a curve was introduced that suited the building to the site as it created a design focus. The curved roof of the exterior is mirrored on the interior. It arches over the circulation desk, from which the floor plan's graceful lines create a space never revealed in its entirety. There's always something more around the bend. The building's orientation provides shaded daylight at the south end children's library and indirect north light in the adult library. East and west facing walls have sections extended out far enough to place north-facing windows within them, thereby reducing heat-producing and potentially book-damaging direct sunlight. Insulated and tinted low-E glass is used throughout the facility with a light-reducing ceramic grit pattern applied to southern exposure windows. The library's open field is a function of its vaulted and arched ceiling with fire protection and electrical elements concealed behind metal decking, finished to match the interior walls. King post trusses serve not only structurally, but as a supporting element for suspended light fixtures. Lighting throughout the library is indirect to prevent glare on computer screens in both the adults and children's computer centers. However, the wider lighting range of the newer T5 bulbs enables browsers to easily read titles from the top to the bottom of the library stacks. Public artwork adorns the building. Dale Chihuly's The Moon and the Stars is suspended over the main circulation desk. In the children's library is an 80-foot mural by Melissa Paxton, as well as Kathy Bradford's Magic Door to the children's reading room. The building's exterior represents a new Southwestern regionalism, exemplified by its use of indigenous materials, such as copper and the baskery weave patterning of its brickwork. The free color pattern skillfully integrates the building into its desert surroundings, matching the colors of nearby hills, rocks, and grasses. Spectacular mountain views and landscapes plan that integrates the form of the building with the surrounding area completes the picture. The Foothills Library is a facility with a design that fits the community it serves. Thank you.
My name is Susan Sommer, and I represent the Cactus District. As a member of the Library Advisory Board, I've listened carefully to the members of the community. The citizens have spoken to me on the phone, by email, and in the presence of this advisory board. I have not heard one person, not one, be in favor of selling the library, not one. My vote has been based on that, and I intend to do what is best for all of Glendale.
My name is Paula Wilson. I'm the mayoral appointee to the Library Advisory Board. I live in the Cholla District, across from the Aquatic Center. I just want to thank, I've been on the board for 2 years now, and this is just an overwhelming response, and I'm just really glad that the residents of Glendale came out in full force, took time out of their schedule to let the city council and the mayor know exactly how they feel about the library, how they value the library staff, and the impact, the positive impact it has on the community. 5 million, 7 million, I think we all know that this library is priceless to us, and I just want to thank everybody for their time and input, and hope for a good outcome here. Thank you.
My name is Karen Aborne. I'm the chair of the board, and I represent the Yucca District. Board member Bolognini and I came on board about the same time, and we must be channeling the same ideas because I did come across the same references that she did. But along with that, I have a thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up if you are aware that this library facility has won 3 architectural and masonry awards. Anybody on that one with me? I'll tell you what we won. In 1999, the Arizona Masonry Guild Excellence in Masonry Award. In 2000, the Metal Architecture Interior Honor Award. In 2000, Valley Forward Association Environmental Excellence Merit Award. Somebody called it a treasure. I think they were right. My comments follow. I have personally observed the presentation on this proposal 3 times, listened to and read dozens of comments from Glendale residents with questions and concerns related to both the Foothills Library and the Foothills Recreation and Aquatic Center. Read both fact-based and embellished media reports, and lost a lot of hours of sleep pondering this decision. Here comes the English teacher. If Dr. Watson were to chronicle the directive given to the 3 commissions, I suspect that he would entitle it "The Case of the Incongruous Conundrum." On the one side, a proposition has come forth with no provocation, which will impact thousands of Glendale residents. It has brought together individuals and families reacting to the potential loss of library or recreational services to which they have become accustomed. A trickle-down benefit, however, would be to enhance the reading room inventories in the southern part of the city. Notably absent, said the Yucca representative, though, is any direct residual benefit to those of us taxpayers in the Southwestern District. On the other side, one of Glendale's most prominent higher education organizations has offered $5 million for a public building and has offered, not promised, to allow continued public access to the facility. Continuing the conundrum metaphor, current library trends show increased usage of technology, which is the focus of the relocation design. The presentations over the past several years at Library Advisory Board meetings indicate that Glendale's libraries remain on the cutting edge of technology, and the FAQs reflect that this will continue regardless of the keeping or closing of the Foothills Library facility as it now exists. There has been speculation about why the proposal was kept quiet for nearly a year. That's bothered me as well, but it is the purview of City Council to divulge executive session topics when they wish. In the FAQs, Mr. Strunk and Mr. Beck noted that it took 10 months to review the library usage, property value, and relocation of the library facility. By then, 3 new council members were elected and needed to be updated on the proposal, and open meeting laws affected when the proposal could be posted on a workshop agenda. At the previous Library Advisory Board meeting, I asked if the Chihuly sculpture was a deal breaker. Mr. Strunk replied that it was not, and that the offer to purchase the facility would remain as it is at $5 million. Glendale could keep the artwork, use proceeds from the sale to relocate it, and still come out $4.1 million ahead based on the second appraisal. Conundrum time again. The building cost more than $7 million to build, and the bridge across Skunk Creek another $3 million. But Glendale comes out ahead on a $5 million sale? I thank those who have come forward with questions, comments, and the energy to initiate petitions. I thank Mr. Strunk and Mr. Beck for their responding to the directives of City Council in conducting an internal staff review, securing the second appraisal, researching current trends in library usage, organizing the 6 board and commission meetings, updating FAQs on the city website, and keeping their cool when we ask them the hard questions, and they are not the decision makers. But the part of the conundrum that I find most disturbing, as have several of my fellow board members, is the fact that I have not observed even one voice promoting the relocation. City council, staff, board and commission members, and children, teen, and adult community members have spent countless hours responding to this proposal. Granted, the presentation reflected negative aspects only in response to questions. But no one said this is a good idea because... As an educator, I really hate mixed metaphors and cliches, but a number of them have come to mind right now. A hard pill to swallow. Lucy and the football. If you build it. But as a language teacher invoking poetic license and coining a cliche, perhaps it is best said, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Is there any additional discussion among the board members? I will now call for the question. I'll read the motion again to remind us exactly what we're voting on. The motion says, I move that staff present to the mayor and city council the Library Advisory Board's recommendation that Midwestern University's offer to purchase the Foothills Library building be rejected and that library services not be relocated to the Foothills Recreation and Aquatic Center. A vote of aye signifies that you vote to recommend rejection of the proposal. I will now call for a roll call vote. I will start with Board Member Shelly.
Aye.
Board Member Fallocca.
Aye.
Board Member Grajeda.
Aye.
Board Member Collett.
Aye.
Board Member Bolognini.
Aye.
Board Member Sommer.
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilson.
Aye.
Chair Aborne. Aye. The motion passes unanimously. 8-0. Wanted to make sure we were all on board. Okay. All right, staff, do you need additional direction on carrying forward?
No, Madam Chair, what we'll do is we'll take the proceeds of your vote, your commentary, we'll make sure we include that in the matter of public record to the council. We are preliminary and planning on going to them on the 17th of March. That's a workshop. It's a non-voting meeting, and our purpose is to update them as they requested on February 3rd. At that point, they'll provide us with further direction as to whether or not we take this out for additional discussion or if we end the discussion.
I believe there's a question from Member Sommer.
A workshop, does that mean the public may attend?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. They're public and they're open.
And do you know what time of day that is?
Typically, those begin at 1:30 p.m. What I would ask everyone to do is we will make sure we post whatever the starting time of the presentation is on the special website, and we'll certainly let you know about that, too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Could you repeat that date, please?
Tentatively, March 17th,
March 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
If you're unable to attend, like I did with the last workshop, I watched it on television, took 12 pages of notes. Get ready for this. I think my staff is about up to here by now. We will move forward to board comments. Does anybody on the board have a comment?
You know, the only thing I want to say is it's unfortunate that it's really come to this point. That it's been drawn out this long, and it's going to continue to be drawn out a bit longer. I'm just speaking for, you know, from what we've heard from people, from, I guess, the letters and the emails. I'm hoping that maybe we can come to a resolution and find something out of it sooner, because it just seems like a very long process. And we've really seen what the taxpayers want to do and how they feel about it. So I know there's a whole process, but I'm hoping maybe they can speed it up a little bit and stop wasting people's time.
What about the book traffic? We're making more book traffic, library, than they do.
My concern is when is enough for the council, because I've been reading in the paper that they're thinking about additional meetings. And I'm thinking, what do they want to hear? They already have heard so many citizens coming in and making their thoughts heard, opinions, everything that you possibly can understand to say no to this relocation. So I'm hoping that this March 17th, that the council will say no to putting it on the agenda. So if you possibly can do email, if that's what you're thinking, email them. If you can't make it, make sure that they understand that you want to end this process sooner than later. Yes.
I have something different to talk about. Totally new subject, something that usually at this time in the meeting they kind of get tired of me talking about, but I'm going to bring it up again because I have a larger audience and it really is to your benefit. I keep talking about Yucca District being left out of a lot of considerations. I'll bet that there's no one in this room beyond the members of this board who realize that there is a presence of the Glendale Library in the Yucca District twice a month. We have a program called We Readers at Westgate. We meet in the Glendale Gallery on the first and third Monday of every month unless it's a legal holiday. This is a story time for children 0 to 5 years old. We have had a child as young as 1 month old at this. It's like the story times at the other libraries. It is presented by either Miss Ellie from Main Library or Karen Reed, who is the library manager. Miss Reed, are you here?
She's on the phone.
There she is. Wait. They take turns doing story time. Board member Sommer, a former kindergarten teacher, and myself, a former kindergarten teacher, take turns helping them out and presenting story time. We read books, we do rhymes, we have a lot of fun with the kids. There is an opportunity to view the artwork that is on display there. It's located next to Cold Stone Creamery in Westgate. And in the summer, when it gets hot, we talk about play date at Westgate. Bring the kids down. They have a half-hour presentation with the books. They have a really great time sharing literacy beginnings with these children. Then you can go over, have lunch, and let them play in the splash pad. Wonderful opportunity for interacting with your children and giving them a chance to know about literacy and reading. This is all that Yucca District has, but it's more than we had 3 years ago. So we do thank Westgate for sharing this opportunity with us. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about is that in April, 2 members on our board will be terming out. There will be 2 openings for adults in April. There will be 2 openings in May for teenagers. I encourage those of you who have an interest in learning about how city government works beyond what you see online. Actually, you have to go to the website to get the application, apply for more than one board or commission, and find out what it's really like to be on this side of the microphone. But it's really a special opportunity, and I do encourage you to look into doing it. That said, yes.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. As I had mentioned earlier, I have a very prestigious level for education. So one thing that I would like to see implemented in our Glendale libraries is possibly a college section to help our students get in that mindset. We provide resources And hopefully that's something that we can try to get that soon. I'd like to see that because I know I like to go to the libraries and use the resources. So if there's already designated spot for college preparation, even better. So that's something I'd like to try to bring to the city.
On behalf of the board, I would like to express our appreciation for your interest in coming. Our meetings are the second Wednesday of every month. We usually vacate in the summer, June, July, and August. The meetings are generally held at the main library, large meeting room, although occasionally we travel to the other ones. Our development team is undergoing some renovations, so we will be meeting there at one point to see what's going on with the renovation. You are all welcome to come. We really look forward to your participation beyond just signing petitions, looking at things online. We'd like to hear from you. And your comments to the board at our meetings go into the record. The minutes are read by council members. We've had feedback from them. And everybody needs to know how much all of us love our libraries. That said, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Board Member Bolognini, is there a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Wilson seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.